is it Tyre? Am I saying it right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Tyre Nichols. Tyre Nichols, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. It was a routine traffic stop. From what I read, maybe if
Right.
y'all know information, it's a routine traffic stop. Now I heard he was trying to help somebody else.
Oh, no. You're thinking about Keenan Anderson.
Yeah.
That was in L.A.
Okay.
Yeah, Keenan Anderson was trying to help at the traffic stop. Tyre Nichols is here in Memphis.
So so it was a routine traffic stop. They stopped. I don't know if it's speeding or whatever happened. And so, as far as I know, then we don't know? I guess why they started beating him, but clearly he passed. He died, and the five black cops, got arrested, and it's just unfortunate, man. I want to get y'all's opinion. I want to get Reggie's synopsis and everything first, as far as what do you think about this whole situation, and actually that is 5 black cops that beat this young man to death, man.
So I don't know how deep y'all want to go into this, but I was really grieved because I didn't realize there were black cops until yesterday, and it really, I sat for a minute and really sat on that thing, man, because it's, again, this stuff has been going on. It's nothing new. But one thing that kind of got me, and there's a book I read probably about 5 or 6 years ago by a lady named Dr. Joy DeGruy. And she wrote a book called the Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, right? Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. She's got some stuff on YouTube, but don't just do the YouTube. Read the book. So
You said Joy DeGruy?
Joy DeGruy, DeGruy. So what she talked about in the book, you guys familiar with post-traumatic disorder, right? So she talked about in her book the multi-generational trauma that's been passed down from generation to generation from slavery, and how, as you know how, it's categorized how white people look at black people, right? But even worse trauma from the slave trade and from the chattel slavery that was here for 350 plus years is the way that the black people view other black people.
Right.
And so I think the biggest or the saddest part of this is when you think about how those 5 black cops viewed this other black boy. And it's one thing for them to look down on us. It's even a worse criminality for us to look down on our own people. You know what I'm saying? And again, I don't have all the details. I don't know. But I do know we don't see this with Caucasians. I do know that they get pulled over and they talk stuff just like black people do. And yet we have very few pictures of them being beaten and killed from a traffic stop. So you can't tell me.
In my experience, they talk worse.
You see what I'm saying? So, but what it stems from is how we look at ourselves through their eyes. Let me say that another way. You look at other black people from the eyes of white people. You see what I'm saying? So in the same manner that they look down on black people, you're looking down on them too, even though they look like you.
This
right?
is true.
And all that stems from that chattel slavery. There's never in the history of man been a level of slavery like what we just went through. They came out of slavery. There was no counselor there. There was no social worker there. And yet all these problematic issues are continue to be passed down.
Right.
And we keep talking about each other as though we have no value. We keep viewing each other as though we have no value because that's what we were trained to do.
Right.
You know? So it's just, it hurts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that could have been me. That could have been you. And even worse than that, it's not just the boy that died and his parents. It's everybody's connected to those cops.
Yeah.
You know?
And that kind of goes back to when you mentioned the traffic stop. I mean, the flagging down, which was the Keenan Anderson thing by the LAPD. He's trying to get assistance for a traffic accident. And he was tased to death. And this wasn't, black cops, but this was, white cops. But it's still to what Reg was speaking about. Like, I kind of feel like sometimes you can go through something traumatic. But like when you come out of it, it's like, how do you cope with that thing? And so like when slavery ended, it wasn't like we got like the 40 acres supposedly we were supposed to get. Like they tricked them out of that land. So you couldn't even earn by yourself. You had to share crop, right? So you're still essentially working for them.
Another form
if
of
you don't
slavery.
have a job, you can go to jail. and these were the black codes, right? So how you gonna get a job? And the only people who got to give you jobs are these former slave owners. So guess what? You're going to jail. If you're out of town and you can't prove you're supposed to be there, you're going to jail. Right?
New Jim Crow.
Right, exactly.
Michelle Alexander. Look that up too. Michelle Alexander, New Jim Crow.
Yeah, if you're with somebody who's of another ethnicity and you're out of town, you're going to jail. Mm-hmm. If you're out past 6 o'clock, you're going to jail. Like look up in every state. Look up some of the laws, and you probably notice in Tennessee to this day they never ratified it. If you spit on the curb, you can go to jail for that. Mm-hmm. But that was essentially stuff that was put basically because it's either the 13th, the 14th, or 15th. But and I think it's the 13th. But slavery is still legal if you're incarcerated. Mm-hmm. So everything that was made was to incarcerate us because they could still use us as slaves. Yep. And so even the police was created. They were created as slave catchers. Mm-hmm. And that's never really left. They haven't. And that's why when people go through the training to be a police officer, we're looked at like when they do those things where it's like a robber who you shooting at is us.
Mm-hmm. I gotta to your point what you were talking about, Reg, as far as with Joy DeGruy, because when you look at it anywhere in the hood, in corporate world or whatever, this is just what I say. Y'all can tell me if y'all see it. Just we have way more energy for our own kind than we would to anybody else. Because if it's a white dude or something, it's like, hey, I don't want those problems. I need to stay professional. You know what I'm saying? Whoop-de-woo, whatever. But if it's one of us, it's like, nah, like, I got to give it to you. I got to do whatever. So I do think that's coming from the old slave mentality. But the question is, because I've been hearing this for years, but my question is there an antidote? There, because it's deep. It's like, it's not just saying it. It's very so deep to where it's like, what can we do?
So the first antidote is awareness. You know what I'm saying? Because see, it's like walking around with a disease and you don't know you're sick. You know what I'm saying? And you're passing that same disease on to your children and to your children's children, and you've never dealt with your internal issue. You know what I'm saying? It's just like when you talk about your child, like, and I'm not talking about your child in particular, but just go to any low income neighborhood, really, even and they're talking about their children. And it's never a positive light. What is it coming from? Back in slavery days, just think about it. When the master came up and they used to do this thing like where they used to, if you ever see somebody like an old white man, and if they pat you twice, don't forget this part. That was like good boy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So
right, you got that stamp of approval.
It's that soft two pats. Mm-hmm. And so just imagine a scenario where you have somebody, the slave owner, who is patting the 16-year-old boy, and is, man, you're doing a good job. The mother immediately, as a defense mechanism, talks about him, and no, master, he's shiftless, he's not doing a good job. Why? Because if he's a good earner, right, then the master's going to sell him. Okay, he's going to be separated. So that defense mechanism moves down generation after generation. And you talk about you're not going to be anything just like your dad, or you're not, you know what I'm saying? So even though you have isolated incidents of people that are encouraging children, but for the most part, we're tearing each other down. You know what I'm saying? And that all comes from slavery, because the other races are not doing that. They're not. So it's heavy, man. So it's got very heavy. It's got to be reconciliation. But in order for there to be reconciliation, there has to be an awareness. It's okay to talk about the Holocaust, but we can't talk about slavery.
See, and that's the thing. I think we aware, but it's just a matter of, it's just like to what you were saying. I think on this episode was like, but like, look, this is what I want to do. Like I know all the side effects. I know everything that's may happen. I know I may go to jail. I may lose my life, but I don't care. I know I'm aware of what can happen, but. See, and that's the part where you can't, I think that's where the spiritual part comes in, because it's like, I think we are aware. I think when what's his name? The Migos dude that
Oh,
passed. Takeoff. Like I think you know what can happen when you in a dice game at 2 a.m. and out like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I know it can happen, but
And
I don't care.
love shooting dice. Ask me when the last time I've been to a dice game.
But I'm talking about the violence. I'm talking about the violence from one black person to another. That's what I'm specifically talking about. And if you don't know why you view this person a certain way, then that's got to be dealt with. Just think about this. I did a study in New Orleans, and this is a long time ago, 99, 2000, on skin color. You talk about the light skin part, right?
Right.
And so why is it that when I see the green eyes, light skin, long hair, why is she more attractive than the dark skinned sister that got to go over the top, show everything she got in order to be pretty? But
I
this
love
one,
dark skin women.
you see what I'm saying? Me too. Right. And so why is that? If you can't understand why that is, and just turn the TV on. Why is it that every time not every time, but most time you see a black person in there, they got to be light skinned? That's what I'm saying. That's a systematic thing.
Right. Yeah.
That's
and then
been
usually
put up.
the darker person is the evil one.
That's the evil one, yeah.
Like
yeah.
case in point, you talked about this on the episode y'all need to check, by the way. Carlton on the new Bel Air, right? Mm-hmm. Did you notice that Carlton is a lot darker than the original Alfonso Ribeiro character? Like Carlton is like dark.
Yeah.
But they made him to be like the villain.
Yeah.
And Will is like noticeably lighter. He's the good one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Stuff is
I
done
mean,
by
you don't
accident,
even think
man.
about stuff like that.
It's deep, bro. And I just hate, like, I just saw, like you said, maybe yesterday, that it was 5, black men that did, Buddy like that. It's like, to me, I think when the story comes out, and when this comes out, the video and stuff probably be out.
They're gonna release the body cam
But
footage.
you thinking like 5. To me, it's got to be more to the story. Something else went down. I don't think
one person. Why didn't one person say? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
out of all those people, could nobody see themselves? Right? Could nobody see their brother right there and say, "Nah, bro, we good. We eat." I don't care how much cash he was talking, even if he got some good licks in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everybody know when to say when, but you know when to say when you put value on that person. Right. But if that person don't have no value, you see what I'm saying? Just think about it, and I hate to keep going back to slavery. Well, I'll take that back. I'm okay with going back to slavery. But the reason they were able to do what they did is because, just think about it, these are humans finding other humans and saying, you know what, y'all are not real people. Mm-hmm. That's the only way they were able to continually do what they were doing, because they had to change their viewpoint, and these are not real people. Mm-hmm. And because you're not a real person, I can do what I want to you. And so, that's what I'm saying. That's a part of, that's how they began to view you. And then they allowed those other people, just think about it. They were viewing themselves. Listen, all these people wouldn't have been taken out of Africa if the white people would have been doing it. They got other black people to do it. What happened over here? You can't have 2 white people run a whole plantation with 500-600 slaves. What? You had to get the other black people to convince them that they were trash. You see what I'm saying? So that's what got passed down.
Yeah. What do y'all think? How you think this is going to affect the city? It's both of y'all.
It's not going to look good, man. I'm not going. I mean, I pray it's not terrible, but I mean, people gonna stand up, man.
I think it would have been worse if it was 5 white cops, though.
It would have been worse.
It would have been to another level.
But it's still gonna be bad, though.
You think so?
I mean, I pray.
Well, I'm saying one will speak on
anything.
anything.
I think to the point that Reg is making, I think it's gonna be worse from the sense of like, because we've talked about this but I hate the argument. Is like, oh well, how can you say something about us doing it? Y'all don't say nothing when y'all do it. Mm-hmm. To quote the great Finesse, it's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it. But like, and people don't understand. Like, no, every dude sitting here is against black on black crime. Mm-hmm. Like, we're civilians.
Yeah, you
know what I'm saying. Like, I don't want you. If you're a rapist, I don't want you in my neighborhood with my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm married, I don't want you around my wife and you're a rapist. I don't care that you black. Like, you got to go. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm not advocating for that. Now, granted, either the system is going to get you and lock you up, or somebody who stay on the street is going to take you out. Yeah. But we're not for certain things in our own community. But we know we can't go to an Asian community or a white community or a Jewish community, we can't go commit a bunch of crimes and they stuff because it's gonna be over with for us. Point blank, period. But we don't like how when y'all do crimes in y'all community, y'all don't highlight it like when it's like, and it's Asians who kill Asians. Like, it is statistically proven that most crimes that happen in communities happen within that community.
That's correct.
If you look at the number of white people killed every year, they're killed by other white people.
That's right.
Predominantly.
That's right.
Asians, predominantly by Asians. Like, and we can go down the line. So yes, we do that to each other, but we don't applaud that.
I'm concerned about the police, JB.
Okay, that's
You see what I'm saying?
That's what I'm about to ask
I'm
you.
concerned about the police more than anything.
The safety
of these police. Because just imagine you being a cop and you going to the store by yourself now, right? You know what I'm saying? You going in to get your normal coffee. I hate to be cliche with the donuts or whatever it is.
Right.
It may not be safe for the cops to be by themselves now. You see what I'm saying? Because you already seen what it's like.
I think it empowers now, because it is still racist cops.
Yeah.
But now when you see like, oh, okay, well, they're doing it. So now,
Man, again,
and we not gonna take our body cams off. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the thing? Oh, he's resisting. He's resisting. Oh, is he reaching for something?
Yeah.
And when they do that, when they're saying that, because again, you can't see every single thing. So when they holler out he's resisting or is he reaching, then now that justifies when they pull their guns or they tase or they beat. Because as you're watching, all I can see is JB's hat. And when they holler out he reaching, well, JB hat is moving. He must have been reaching for something.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And that kind of empowers them to do the stuff that they already want to do anyway.
So that's my prayer right now for those families of those police officers, because they also, you know what I'm saying, even though they were involved in murdering their boy, they families, they folk pictures on the screen, dog. Yeah. One of them look familiar. I don't know where I know them from, but one of them look familiar. But what I'm saying is, these Memphis folk, somebody went to high school with such and such. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm concerned about the safety of their families. I'm serious, man. It's serious.
Yeah, I can tell you, like, we kind of talked about some of the stuff off camera, but I can tell you, like, to your point.
So the prayers need to go for the deceased family, also for the family of those 5 cops.